What do you make of that Spurs team, Goughy? Gareth Bale starting.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I think the only one I'm not surprised is, well, I am surprised at is Dele Alli. Still can't find a place in the starting 11. So it's not just Mourinho. Looks like it's Ryan Mason as well. He's seen him on a daily basis, seen him training. But the interesting one, he has gone for Bale rather than Vinicius up top. So that's an interesting one. Alderweireld was in the starting 11, wasn't he?
Yep, it's him and Dyer at the back,
Yeah, I honestly think that is the best pairing.
Do you really?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's good enough for what they want to be, but I still think that's the best pairing for Tottenham.
It's interesting. You can't really have a go at Ryan Mason, can you, for picking this team? I'm actually a little bit disappointed he hasn't just gone straight in and said, right, Harry Winks, get back in the team. Dele Alli, get back in the team. Bit disappointed, bit underwhelmed.
Surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised, but listen, it's where Tottenham are at. I mean, it's a strange one, isn't it? Tottenham Hotspur, they've had an owner who's, a chief exec who, business-wise, has got it spot on for Tottenham over the years. But I think, like I say, he's becoming an unpopular figure. Well, he has been for a while, but he's becoming more unpopular again because what's happened in the last 3 days. The appointment of Mourinho was supposed to take them to another level. Well, he's got them to the final, but it's looking like the decision to sack him while they're in 7th position is a financial decision rather than the right decision, because they're going into a Premier League game with a 29-year-old who's never managed a senior game and sacked one of the most high-profile managers in the world a week before the cup final. It just does not make any sense whatsoever, whether it be business or managerial sense. They got knocked out of the Europa League with one of the most high-profile managers after having a 2-0 lead at one stage. So that that for me was a nail. That was a one. That was a trophy I honestly believe Tottenham thought they could win. Yeah, the Europa League.
Yeah, it was a shocker, wasn't it? And for Saints, who just can't stop losing in the Premier League, he's changed the keeper again. It's McCarthy, not Forster. He's brought in Walcott, Adams up front with Ings. I mean, he's left Stevens out of the back four. Bednarek keeps getting in at centre half. It's a strange one for me, but I think if Spurs can't beat Southampton, the state Southampton are in, then there are bigger issues.
Well, I think it's a big list. Best of luck, actually, to Ryan Mason tonight, 29 years old, thrown in at the deep end, by the way. I say, he's replacing Mourinho. Just think about that, Aid. He's never managed a senior game and he's replacing Mourinho. Yes, but it could be a massive 2 games for him. It could go 2 ways. He could either be absolutely a fan superstar by getting a trophy and him being the manager at the time when they win that trophy, and 3 points tonight, which puts them back in it to a certain extent, or they could get battered in both games and it's just thrown him into the Lions. It's a time when fans are demonstrating outside the ground.
You got to feel for him a little bit, and no Harry Kane as well. Such terrible timing. Listen, more to come on that from 5:30. The big build-up to our commentary on talkSPORT of Spurs against Southampton with Sam Matterface and Alvin Martin, who are the commentary team at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight. Let's go back to your calls. The apology from Joel Glazer. Any United fans buying it? Patrick supports Manchester United. You're with us on the show, Patrick. What do you want to say?
Well, basically, the whole thing's a bit of a farce because, he talks about rebuilding trust. There's never been any trust there in the first place. How do you rebuild something that isn't there? It just goes to show how out of touch they are with not only English football but also with what their relationship with the fans is. I mean, the guy's he's obviously deluded.
Well, he is. There's no foundations whatsoever in place to actually build a relationship with the United fans. This has been going on for such a long time. They've never been popular owners, and the distance has grown further and further apart over the past, 10 years, Aid? And there was never any foundations to build any sort of relationship. So it's just never going to work.
The Glazers have been there a long time, and for them to still buy into this, I mean, all that stuff about how they underestimated the pyramid and promotion and relegation, they've been here long enough to understand it. I mean, I know they don't go to games, but they've been here long enough to understand it if they really wanted to understand it. So that, to me, it smacks of being untrue. Gary's a Manchester United fan. Hiya, Gary.
How you doing, Aid? Hi, Goughy.
Hey, mate.
phone a couple of months ago to have a moan about Paul Pogba and driving to Turin to take him, drop him off there. But with United, it just goes, and from all clubs, it goes from one thing to moan about to the next and another thing to worry about. And this apology, do you think that he had any input, Joel Glazer, into writing that apology in any way?
I'm struggling to be convinced by that.
He's dictated, or someone's written it for him. He sat in his office in Florida. He could care less. Doesn't have to ever come to Old Trafford. He could I'm struggling to find a way of working out how are we ever going to get rid of this. I said Pogba his agent was a parasite. This is the biggest problem at our club. Leeches, as Gary Neville said, is completely right. And I just can't see a way of how we're ever going to be rid of them. They never have to come to Old Trafford. They do everything remotely. They don't, clearly, as you said, they've been here 10 years, or of over 10 years involvement with the club. And they don't, other than, all right, we play in red, what do they really know about the club? What do they know about English football? They're not bothered.
Well, clearly they don't know anything, because he's just admitted in the statement that he didn't know how big promotion, relegation and the pyramid are. I mean, I think that's an astonishing admission from Joel Glazer.
He just wanted a Super Bowl final.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted. They just wanted the top two playing a Super Bowl.
In the World Series. Sam, a United fan. What do you want to say, Sam?
I just echo the sentiments from the last guy. There is absolutely no way that Joel Glazer wrote that. I'd rather the apology come from his PA, so then at least it's half honest. And with what the guy said last time is the only way that we can get rid of the Glazers, because not one United fan has wanted the Glazers from day one. And I think since the Glazers have come in, it's always been, a Super League has been kind of mooted for years on end now, is by the governing bodies taking this opportunity to try and level the playing field of distributing the wealth, the visual, the marketing impact the Premier League has by restricting the amount of games that aid from United and the other big six, and giving the limelight to the other teams in the Premier League. Because you've got Man United worth over $4.5 billion, and then you've got teams they're competing against in the same league worth a fraction of that. It's just not a level playing field.
Yeah, it's just not right, and I do wonder. I mean, this is not news, and it's not something that's never been said before. But how did the Glazers get the go-ahead for the takeover of United?
No idea.
It's astonishing, isn't it? And maybe those rules, those measures need to be looked at and need to be stricter, because what you're doing is you're looking after football clubs that belong to the fans. The fans will be there through thick and thin and even thinner. But these owners will come and go, and they'll go when they've made a whole load of money, won't they? This is talkSPORT.